What's up, everybody? The DA here. Let's talk about Star Wars Celebration Day 2, okay, and how that went. Day 2 wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. Very lightweight on the Let me fix this camera real quick. Very lightweight on announcements, and really the only thing that we had to talk about that everybody was talking about afterwards was the return of Lars Mikkelsen, as you can see here, as Grand Admiral Thrawn. There's the picture, and yeah, I thought that was probably the highlight of the day. Absolutely, Thrawn coming back. Even in Rebels, he's a great character, a better character in the books, both set of books. Okay, the first trilogy by Timothy Zahn back in the early '90s, and the second trilogy by Timothy Zahn in the last few years. Both trilogies are excellent. I got them all. I got them both on audiobook. And I listen to them like constantly. So yeah, it's awesome that he's coming back. As it says there, this is off of Screen Rant. Star Wars Celebration 2023 dedicated Ahsoka panel confirms actor Lars Mikkelsen is bringing Grand Admiral Thrawn to live actions, and fans are massively celebrating the huge win. Having helped define the character's canonical version in the animated series Star Wars Rebels, it was widely believed that Mikkelsen was the only real choice to play Thrawn in the upcoming Ahsoka series and beyond in future Star Wars. Likewise, it seems showrunner Dave Filoni agrees. Yeah, Dave Filoni was, he was pumped, man. He was definitely pumped to hear how the fans reacted to this news. You could see the grin on his face. I was right up front, like in the center where I was seated, and yeah, I mean, he was just, he was happy about that. Star Wars right now, it needs news like this. Okay, it needs news to kind of bring people back in, and for those that don't think that celebration, like is a big deal or whatever, for Star Wars fans, the biggest deal. It's the hugest deal, okay? And you'd be surprised how many Star Wars fans, a lot of us think like, oh, all these guys are just Star Wars, homers and stands, and they'll just, bow down to anything that's coming out. Not true at all. Everybody afterwards was talking about how, like, they better get this right. Okay, they've screwed up so much right now. They better get this right. Those who are fans, like, just kind of like you think the blind fans, they're not so blind. I had a couple of conversations with some guys hanging out and in the Jedi Master Lounge, and we were saying, yeah, this has been blown opportunity after blown opportunity for Disney to really get Star Wars right, and this is probably going to be another one. And it's like, damn, the pessimism is absolutely there. They're still Star Wars fans, and that's another thing. We're all Star Wars fans. We're all here because we want to be here, because we want Star Wars to be good. We just want good Star Wars. Not a lot to ask, you would think, but it apparently is a lot to ask. And one of the points and highlights that I was talking to a guy about, because we were talking about, yeah, man, a lot of people just gave up. A lot of cats just given up on Star Wars. And I made the point saying, hey, you know what? This is our franchise. We're not giving up. This is our franchise. It doesn't belong to Disney like they think it does. It belongs to us. And that's why, we stay in and we fight the fight, because this is our childhood. You guys aren't just going to take it from us without a fight. We're going to be there, criticizing it every step of the way. And I know a lot of people have checked out, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But for some of us, it's just like, nah, Star Wars is too important. You're not going to just take it from us. We're going to be there, right alongside you guys. If it's good, Star Wars, we'll call it good. But if it's not, we'll say, hey, you're making shit right now and you need to get better. That was kind of the thing that came out of the Ahsoka panel as well, is that Filoni was even saying, yeah, we know that, certain things didn't work. They were talking about like her little tendrils for Ahsoka, and how people were critical of that. And they're saying, yeah, Star Wars fans are the most critical fans out there, and we hear everything. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll see if these guys do Thrawn right, live action Thrawn. But, I mean, they didn't blow it with Rebels, in my opinion. Some people feel differently. I don't think they blew it. I think that there was more they could have done. But I thought Thrawn was plenty menacing and, hit the right notes in Rebels. And Dave Filoni seems to understand. And they are going to be talking to the original author, Timothy Zahn, saying, hey, Zahn, talk to us about Thrawn and make sure that we get this thing right. And they have to, okay? They have to, because if they don't, they're going to get destroyed, okay? I feel like Filoni's career, not his career, but his like status among Star Wars fans could really like go in either direction if he nails this thing, if he goes left or right with this thing. But yeah, that was it. Like, light on the announcements. Ahsoka, the biggest thing was Thrawn. They did show us more of a trailer. They gave us a little bit deeper trailer where we saw Thrawn in full-fledged blue face, red eyes, the whole nine. Not just the back of his head like you guys, everybody at home would see on the trailer. We saw more footage. And it looks great. Again, Star Wars, I've said this before, Star Wars has never cut a bad trailer in their lives, okay? They've cut some bad movies, some terrible movies, but their trailers are usually like, yeah, the music and everything like that, it usually gets you hype. So I don't think that they messed up at all when it came to the announcement of Thrawn. I thought that they are good at that kind of stuff too. It's just up to the movies. Like, are these movies and these television shows going to live up to the hype? That's the main thing. And there was a sense, like I said, I think I said on the previous video right out of the panel for Ahsoka, there was a big sense that, if we don't get this right, we're not going to get a season 2 of Ahsoka. And based on how The Mandalorian is going right now, it's no guarantee that these guys can get it right. It's a possibility these guys will get it all the way wrong and just completely ruin what should be a good series. We've already seen Obi-Wan and what should have been a really good series, and we've already seen that get botched big time. So will they stick the landing, for this particular series? Will they stick the landing? That remains to be seen. And I think it all really comes down to Dave Filoni and what his ideas are, and if he's going to either stick to the script when it comes to Heir to the Empire. Is that what he's building up into his culminating event film, or are they going in another direction? So when it comes to Dave Filoni, and I think this is kind of the biggest story on Star Wars Day 2 or Celebration Day 2, is that Dave Filoni is legging it out there. He's putting it all the way out there with a live action film. He's doing Ahsoka, possibly a couple of seasons of Ahsoka, and setting up Thrawn and, a possible adaptation to Heir of the Empire. Now, I want to be clear. He never said that. He said that he would be speaking to Timothy Zahn after, he was done at Celebration. They're going straight to Zahn's house, I guess, or whatever. And they're going to chop it up with him. So that's what Filoni had said, him and Favs on stage during that Ahsoka panel. So that makes me believe, okay, they're adapting Thrawn. They need Timothy Zahn in the room. They already got Thrawn in the universe, so there's no reason to speak to this guy unless you're talking directly to him about, okay, what's up with, Heir of the Empire? Do you think that this is the way to go? I don't know. I think with Thrawn, there's so many different ways they can go with it. I saw you guys in the comments arguing whether or not they would bring Luke in as the protagonist in that story, which I think would be smart. But of course, this is Lucasfilm we're talking about. Or will they just kind of translate this into, Ahsoka's story as well, and have Ahsoka taking over the Luke spy? I don't know. I think that, again, knowing how these guys are, it'll probably be Luke. It'll probably be Ahsoka playing the part of Luke, which will, turn off a lot of fans. But this is Filoni's baby. If he nails this, if he sticks the landing, he's, going to be legendary in Star Wars forever. If he somehow sticks the landing with a Heir to the Empire adaptation, bringing in Luke or whoever, I think he could stick the landing and this can be awesome. But if he doesn't, he'll still be good. He'll still be beloved, but he won't be like the legend that he could have been if he brought this in successfully. A lot of people have been waiting on Thrawn to come back. So I think that this is important for Dave Filoni. It mentions some stuff here I'll go ahead and touch on, talking about Ahsoka is Star Wars series debuting in August, starring Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, blah, 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 blah. One of the show's through lines is her search for Thrawn. And then it does mention here, of course, there's Lars Mikkelsen, who has returned as Thrawn. And everybody, like I says, Mickelson's walk on stage had the 4,500 strong crowd on their feet and blowing the roof off with their screams. Yeah, it was loud in there after that. After he walked out on stage, it got very, very loud very, very quickly. Thrawn is actually created by author Timothy Thrawn for his Star Wars novels in the 90s. But like many non-movie works, the character and his stories were rendered non-canon after Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2012. Yeah, so it's been like, 11 years of bullshit. Like, just get on with it, all right? You should have just always had this EU stuff connected directly to what you were doing, okay? Nobody's saying that you can't go forward and tell your own stories, but why did you have to shit can the entire EU? Everybody, even if you didn't make those novels, that should have informed a lot of what you were doing going forward, as it's going to do now with Thrawn. So it's just funny how Disney always seems to be doing this 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of approach. Like, oh shit, we got to go back and redo Thrawn because nobody's liking the crap that we're doing. Stupid. Could have already had this over and done with. Could have already been on their way to greater and better Star Wars. As it mentions there, Filoni described the character as a villain in the mold of Star Wars. Excuse me, of Sherlock Holmes' adversaries, Moriarty. Yeah, remember he played a character. I can't remember his name in the British BBC series Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. He played a character in that Thrawn-like. Loved it. If you guys haven't seen that, check it out because his part in that particular series was amazing. He doesn't have the Force, but it doesn't matter. He will outsmart you and out-trap you. And he said that he and fellow Ahsoka ex-producer, executive producer Jon Favreau have been in touch with Zahn and plan on follow-up meetings because it's his thing. And I feel really privileged that Lars will bring him to life in this way. We want to make sure we get it right. Yeah, it's very important to get it right, Dave. You got to nail this one, okay? If you nail this one, like I said, you're a legend forever in the Star Wars. If not, you're just another good guy that made some good material once, but you blew a lot of opportunities for Star Wars to really take off, especially when you're talking about a character such as Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't think he'll blow it. I think he'll do a good job. Will he adapt, Heir to the Empire the way it should be? Will he bring back Luke? I don't know. Something tells me the answer is no to that, but we'll see. Again, it just depends on, they already have their ideas cooked up in their head. Trust me. They already know exactly what they want to do. And we, the fans, are going to be kind of left in the dark until it actually happens. So, but that was it. Star Wars Celebration Day 2, not much to talk about in terms of, announcements. Oh, Dave Filoni did announce that there would be another season of Tales of the Jedi. And that he's kind of using it to kind of, set up some of his future animated directors, so when animation comes out, these guys have something under their feet, or under their belt in terms of, producing something and directing something. So he didn't give us any ideas of what Jedi they would be telling tales for. But, again, I'm sure it's going to be similar animated shorts, things like that. So, yeah, Dave Filoni did mention that at the 15th anniversary Clone Wars panel. Which got really emotional. Like, man, those guys were almost in tears talking about the Clone Wars, which is a great, it's absolutely one of the great cartoons, great animated series of all time, in my opinion. Right up there with, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Batman the Animated Series, and many, many animes that I can't even begin to talk about at this point. But, in terms of American animation, yeah, it's right up there with, some of the best storytelling that's been out there. So, he's going to do more Tales of the Jedi, which I'm cool with, I wasn't blown away by the first series. I did like it. I thought, they didn't take enough risks. They didn't tell enough interesting tales, but he said that they are going to go back to do that, which is cool. But yeah, that was it. Star Wars Celebration Day 2, not a lot. People were bugging about some kind of a drag show that I didn't see. I'm like, what drag show? I didn't see a drag show anywhere. People were bugging out about that, saying there's a drag show here. It's stupid. And then like, I don't see any drag show. I didn't see anybody in drag. Not to say that there wasn't one. I did actually look it up. I'm like, okay, there is some drag show, but it was long past. I had, it was already gone. So I was like, I don't know. I didn't see anything crazy out here, I was going to stuff that I wanted to watch. So, I don't know. I mean, Star Wars is fucking stupid sometimes. Like, why would you put a drag show at an event where there's kids everywhere? I mean, it's just bizarre. There's kids everywhere at this place, man. Absolutely everywhere. So, a drag show, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't see it until somebody brought it up to me, like, around, like, almost time to leave. And it was a drag show here. And I'm like, fuck, what? But anyway, folks, that was it. Day two, not a lot. Just, really Ahsoka, Dave Filoni, and Thrawn. That was kind of the day. So, all right, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll see you guys next time.